Hey there. You know that feeling when you're driving home and you pull into your driveway and think, wait, I don't even remember the journey? Yeah, that's autopilot. Today we're talking about how to take our hands back on the wheel of our own lives. We're going to explore how to shift from that unconscious cruising to a much more intentional direction, one small choice at a time. So let me just ask you this straight up. Ever have that feeling where the days just kind of blur together and you feel more like a passenger in your own life than the person actually driving it? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you are definitely not alone. So let's unpack that feeling together. All right, so what is this autopilot mode that we all seem to slip into? Let's take a closer look at what it really means and, maybe more importantly, uncover the kind of surprising reasons why our brains put us there in the first place. Well, think of it like this. It's the difference between actually tasting your morning coffee and just, drinking it for the caffeine. It's when our actions are driven by habit, not by conscious choice. And here's the key. It's a survival mechanism. It's our body's way of getting us through the day when being fully present just feels like way too much to handle. So, what does this actually look like? Do any of these hit a little too close to home? That mindless doom scroll where, oops, 20 minutes just vanished. Or automatically saying yes to things you absolutely do not have the energy for. Or maybe packing your schedule so tight just to avoid a quiet moment with your own thoughts. See, these aren't just random quirks. They are telltale signs that autopilot has taken over. Now, this next part is a really huge mindset shift. So often we beat ourselves up for being on autopilot. We call it laziness or maybe a lack of discipline. But what if that's not the truth at all? What if it's actually protection? See, it's not a bug in our system, it's a feature. It really all comes down to our nervous system. When life gets overwhelming, and that could be from stress, from trauma, or just plain old burnout, our brain intelligently steps in. It learns to conserve that precious energy by running on habit, and it numbs our feelings to protect us from pain. Autopilot is basically your brain's way of saying, hey, I've got this, you just rest. But, while that protective mode is super helpful in a crisis, staying there for too long, well, it comes at a pretty profound cost. It leads to something the source material calls slow self-erasure. Let's look at what that really means. Slow self-erasure. Wow. That phrase really lands, doesn't it? It's not some dramatic, sudden event. It's quiet. It's gradual. With every choice that we let default to habit, we're giving away a tiny piece of our own story, until one day, we look up and we barely recognize the main character anymore. And this is what that self-erasure feels like. On the surface, everything might look totally fine. You're checking all the boxes, doing all the things, but inside there's this growing emptiness, right? A sense of being disconnected from the very life you're living. You become a spectator, just reacting to scenes instead of choosing your own lines. So how do we break this cycle? Well, the good news is you don't need to blow up your entire life. The shift from autopilot to intention actually begins with something much smaller and, honestly, way more powerful. Just a single question. And this is the heart of it all, really. It's about taking back the lead role in your own story. And you do that by reclaiming choice. It's about recognizing that every single day is filled with these little moments where you can either abandon yourself or you can choose to align with yourself. The challenge is, a lot of us have been programmed to ask the wrong questions. We're taught to make decisions based on all this external pressure. What will other people think? What should I be doing right now? What's going to make me look good? These questions are literally the fuel that keeps the autopilot running. But here it is. Here's the game-changing shift, the intentional question. Instead of looking outward for validation, you turn inward and you ask this: is this aligned with who I'm becoming? It completely moves the goalposts from external approval to internal alignment. So what does it really mean to check for that alignment? Well, it's asking yourself things like, does this choice actually feel good for my well-being, for my nervous system? Is this helping me build the version of myself that I'm actually proud of? Or is this a step toward growth? Or am I just falling back into an old, comfortable pattern? And listen, here's something really, really important to remember. This is not about getting it right every single time. Intentionality is not perfection. It's simply about having a direction, a compass. It's about choosing awareness over anxiety and progress over perfection. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually do it? Let's get really practical with a super simple practice you can start literally today. It's called the one choice practice, and it's pretty much as simple as it sounds. In the morning, you just set one small intentional goal for the day. Then, in the evening, you take a moment to reflect on a single time you honored yourself. That's it. It's manageable, it's concrete, and it is incredibly powerful. And look, your one choice doesn't have to be some monumental life change. Not at all. Look at these examples. It can be about changing the voice of your inner critic. It can be about not pushing your body past its limits. It could just be about saying no when autopilot would have screamed yes. These are the small hinges that swing open really big doors. And I really, really want you to hear this. It is not only okay if your choice is small, it's actually better that way, especially if it's small. Why? Because small, consistent actions are what our brains can actually handle. They're the tiny, sustainable building blocks of a completely new way of being. Because this is it. This is how real change happens. You don't need to wait for some lightning bolt moment or a major crisis to start. Your new, more intentional life is built right here in the quiet accumulation of these tiny, deliberate choices that you make every single day. So I'll leave you with this question to carry with you. Not about the rest of your life or even the rest of this week. Just for today. What is the one small, intentional choice you can make that aligns with the person you are becoming?